Keep stays almost as slow as you loading in. Oh, slower. That's impressive. Hello everyone, and welcome to round number 1 of our 10th Mohawk tournament. I am Blues, here with DT, Death
Oh,
Tacticus. You're casting Group B with Igninon Kanto, Keepstay, Hexbus, and RCX Dude. So we have this map. It has a chemical colony. What else
yes.
have you seen about it?
Oh, double foot, 120 double steel. If there was a scientific, it would have been really nice because there's ice on top with iron next to it, but still do something with robotic and elite.
Yeah, I think the big thing that sticks out to me this map is the weak aluminum, so an elite would be interesting and a robotic in the probably northeastern corner would be interesting. I don't know what else you do. Scavenger does not feel good to me because it's just a lot of shipping.
Scavenger could track because there are core samples, but I wouldn't do it.
Right, and even if I were to do it, I would find it in the crater next to the carbon.
Next was going for 3 steel, 1 iron because steel is stats double, iron half.
Yeah, that's solid. Although silicon is already really expensive for him, and Kanto has not shown any interest in helping out with that. Well, I guess he
He
slowed
only
down a
has
little.
one
Yeah.
We have one scavenger doing off-base carbon, or 3 of them. That's I think a little bit overkill. You really want to farm next to it, and
Right.
3 of them is a bit too much.
Right, as a scavenger, you're always going to be very limited on claims, and especially this early, you can't afford 3 claims there. And now there's very little RCX can do to both grab aluminum and find some source of money for glass. We'll see what he actually does there. Keepstay has interesting found. It is,
He's using the core sample.
yeah, I guess that's was his plan in going for this, but it's unreliable. Only getting that low iron, and then it also is just the 2k right out of your pocket at the beginning of the game. It slows you down so much. Gonna be stuck at HQ1 while everyone's at 2 for a while. Hexbus going into a ton of steel.
Whoa, that's a bit overkill in my opinion.
Yeah, he
Go
doesn't.
for water.
Okay, he's swapping now.
He doesn't have water. Can be a problem. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll go for next flame and go for 2 solar condensers. That could work.
Yeah, that looks like his plan, although I guess it's only 20 something seconds. It'll be day by the time he actually gets to get that down, that's fine.
Ooh, the gamma price is $1. Someone needs to buy into that.
Yep. No big surprise that the carbon price dropped that much. RCX been auto-selling it. There's not much else he can do to scrape together money for his buildings, since that's most of what he's actually producing.
Kanto also going to farms double aluminum low next to the colony, so he might do something with that later on. He has like a nice optimization center spot that he can use later.
Yeah,
Also,
it was a nice second found. Good water access, the aluminum, the colony. Just a little bit cramped, but it's probably going to be fine.
4 farms there. I think he should want to go on that, but he also might want to get a claim early on and just like go for the late game.
Right, Hex Post hitting HQ3, grabbing Silicon right away, which is really important, because he hasn't been gathering that, and Kanto's kind of not been punishing him for it. Going for Wind, Keepstay also has Wind up, no one else has powered down yet.
The wins this week from Exodus, but if he gets superconductor, that should be fine.
Doesn't look like that's his plan, just going for a third turbine instead. I guess carbon is really cheap, but it still feels like a really big commitment at this point, since he's not going to make any real amount of power money with power this low.
And he gets frozen by Kanto. Okay.
It's an interesting play. I don't think I would do that as Kanto, just because Kanto doesn't have any power up, so it's kind of in his interest for Keepstay and Hexbus to kill that price for him. But I guess he's going for 1 wind turbine now. I don't know I guess he can get this upgrade pretty quickly.
But they already upgraded to HQ level 4, so we will probably see more wind turbines. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And all this is adding up to a lot of trouble for RCX, dude. I guess he does have 539 carbon saved up, but he did transition out of those quarries. He's going to need to move back into them before too long. And just in a very awkward position. Last kiln's already turning off. They weren't a great mark to begin with. This event is making them much worse.
All the prices are going up the last 4 of those resources. Interesting to see. Keep stay upgrading to HQ level 3 is making power money, but not that much. He has like a nice base going on, 3 claims. He probably wants to go into life support next to the border, but he chooses to go into silicon, which also makes sense to do. And expensive.
Going for core samples too, looking for more silicon, I guess. Maybe he's hoping for carbon, but that's very unlikely. Silicon.
It kind of makes sense to do that, but you really want to get those cheap claims and guns first before you do that.
Yeah, definitely. You can always set up the extra resources with the core samples later, but the cheap claims and goons are going to be gone before you know it. Or at least they should be. So far they've been staying pretty low. I guess RCX is having trouble affording them. Don't know what Hexpus and Kanto aren't doing that more for.
Kanto is going to Pen Lab and Optimization Center and going into a Plushy Dam. Wow, that's a big investment.
It does feel like a significant mistake that the Optimization Center is out there when it could easily just be right next to the machine shops.
Yeah, that's a mistake. That's a big mistake. That's not a really big mistake, but yeah.
It's unnecessary. Yeah. So unnecessary. Expos moving into chemicals. Those will be pretty solid. Chemicals. Probably going to be looking for some sort of advanced building out of him at this point as well. Pleasure Dome would not be out of place. Patent Lab, Optimization Center, pretty much anything. And that's a really cheap slowdown strike.
Wow. 8k, that's way too cheap. And everyone is still like in a good spawn trading, so yeah. And he uses it on the pen lab from Kanto.
It's reasonable to do that. I don't feel particularly strongly about that.
It's fine. I mean, you don't really know what he's going for, so maybe just thinking he's going for a thinking machine because offfield is still decent. It's like oxygen plus 39k at the moment. But yeah, Exopus should really go into an offense building now.
Right, I'm really concerned that he hasn't. There's no great reason for him to not have done that by this point.
It's going for a pattern lab. Not sure if I would have done that. I think he really want to go for the Flashy Dome and the Optimization Center.
Yeah, those seem like the big ones, especially with chems almost at $300. Optimizations would do a lot of work.
RCX still is not producing anything because he doesn't have money. All his buildings except carbon are off.
Right, and we talked earlier about why founding away from the carbon was a bit of a mistake, why it made things difficult. He's kind of compounding that problem by adding more carbon claims, and just all throughout the game, he's making a lot of big transitions into triangles of buildings that he couldn't really sustain the production on, and that's just been causing all sorts of problems.
His problem is also he's not auto-selling carbon, like he needs to get some fuel there, but he doesn't have the money for it. So.
Speaking of other sources of problems, Kanto and this black magic electronic style. I mean, I guess he just upgraded. No, I mean on his other base. He just upgraded. He's fixing that now. I guess he probably bought a claim to put that down, but still not what you want to see.
That's way too much electronics, in my opinion. I'd rather see like life support and go into chemicals.
Yeah, probably is too much. It's not a pure electronics colony, so.
Exodus going after Konto because Konto upgraded just now. Understandable. You can kill him early on, then you basically win the game.
Yeah, Keepstay and RCX aren't really threats at this point, and especially as an elite, getting that big stock price boost lets you just do whatever you want into the late game and run away with things.
48k. I mean, he's getting nanotech, so maybe he wants to push for that.
Yeah, it's a bit aggressive, but it's probably going to pay off.
Oh,
Oh,
Konto finished the
yeah.
peasants.
Without that, he would have
If
defended himself.
wait, Hexapus is not using nanotech? Oh, okay. I think he could have defended himself in a split second, but not sure. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Keepstay has a nice base, but he doesn't have any water. You should buy some water because it's still cheap now.
and he does at least have this 100 something water, but yeah, he definitely should have more.
You should just buy into it because it will go up really fast and someone else can really punish you for that.
Well, I mean, I guess they can't punish him too much. He can always transition just a bunch of his buildings into a lot of water pretty easily.
Still, that's time lost.
Yeah, definitely.
Needs to just buy.
That doesn't seem like anyone's interested in doing that punishment move, which is fine, I guess. RCX doesn't really feel like he can afford it, I don't think, and Hexbus probably doesn't need to take any sort of risks. Needs to play a very standard game from here on out, and he should be fine.
Got superconductor, which is for its wind turbines. That's enough for 2 wind turbines with superconductor next to like a rare, how do you call it, cliff?
Mm-hmm.
It's enough for him for the whole game. Ooh,
Well,
that's a nice phrase.
maybe not if he keeps that very weak turbine as one of the two, but eventually he can rearrange a bit and yeah, he'll be fine. Not using his patent lab right now though. I guess he prioritized the upgrade, but still, okay. Thinking machines I don't think is particularly relevant.
I mean, the off-worlds, but you already are leading by so much. Would rather go for virtual reality? Does he have that?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Right, he can license it, and that'd be perfectly fine. You're just handing money to your sub, who will give you money right back. It's always perfectly fine to do.
He can also boost Kanto's Pleasure Dome, because that one is really making a lot of money.
Right, the risk to boosting that Pleasure Dome, of course, is that someone else can just mutiny it, but...
Yeah. What Keepstay really needs to do now is buy into Kanto before Exodus buys into Kanto. And
right,
I mean, the sub money is just ridiculous.
Right, for a sub that doesn't have any off-worlds or anything, 160 per share, 170, just really solid.
You see 170, I see 190, 94.
I was just calculating. I was, yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I'll see Exodus is going overkill with carbon again. Yeah. Like, transitioning too much, and then he doesn't have enough money to buy stuff. Oh, to produce stuff, I mean.
Yeah, and this is why you found next to the carbon, so you can do things like this when you need the carbon and then move into something else.
However, he buys into Kanto.
I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. It doesn't really make a big difference because he's so far behind.
It doesn't make... I mean, it doesn't matter this game, but it's still a good play, so I want to point out that people should do that more often.
I don't know. I mean, when you're at HQ3, though, it's a pretty big slowdown. I guess you'd need everything you can get to drag things out as long as possible.
Not sure what Keepstay is going to do. He's going to upgrade, okay. He's not using his optimization center, I think. Yeah, he's using it now. Okay, interesting. And now Express is going to buy into Keepsay.
Mm-hmm.
Also choosing to defend himself
That
for some
seems.
reason.
I mean, it's fine, but it's also just a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, yes, you do want to defend yourself more, do things to prolong the game when you are ahead, but when you're this far ahead, then you're just, there's no reason to bother.
What I would do, Express players, was just go for an Akira and boost head out and something, and then just finish the game from there. Boost. Keepsay is boosting still. Makes sense, but you don't have iron, so someone can really punish you by doing that.
Yeah, I feel like we've been saying that a lot this game, and it hasn't been happening very much, which is okay, I guess. But little thing for RCX dude, if he watches this back, he's been doing a lot of these transitions in and out of carbon while continuing to auto sell carbon. There were times where he did stop auto selling, built up nice stockpiles. That's what you want to be doing if you're going to be planning on moving in and out. You don't want to be caught in a situation where you have no carbon and then you just sold like 500 for $4.
You basically you only want to auto sell something expensive and something that other people sell also in, so you're competing into that market.
Right. Or just if you desperately need cash as soon as possible, but that's rare.
But that carbon price that was that low will not give you that much money. Keepsay fault was really using the core samples early. It's like wasting black markets cooldowns. You really want to go for the claims and the goons, or even the boost. You could have gotten the two high iron on the right. Would have been enough.
Maybe just pick up the one high iron to start with and then see how that carries you through. I know steel has been kind of out of control the entire game, so you might have needed to grab the second one eventually. But even then, I guess one of the irons could have been power. That's something you can always do as a robot.
I think it's also even a good swing turbine spot there.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Strong.
Because he doesn't.
Buying into everyone.
I'd rather he just finish the buy and keep stay, then he can sell out and be done with this real fast. But whatever.
Yes, and now because Aussie X-Tilt is saying I'm going to defend myself, but that will also just delay the game. But yeah, now Express should just like buy Keepsay, sell it off his stock, and then just buy Aussie X-Tilt.
Right, looks like he's going to do just that and clean up the game. Pretty straightforward. Once Kanto failed to defend himself, didn't cancel virtual reality in time, then it was Hexbus's game to lose.
He was a little bit creative with upgrades, and he got punished.
Kanto did do some good things this game. This Pleasure Dome early was definitely a great choice that paid off quite nicely for him.
If did he use a boost on it? Because if he didn't, then that was a big mistake.
I don't think he did. Yeah, he never even picked up a boost. Would have been a good thing to do.
Well, Express wins the game. Are we recording the time?
And we are recording the FFA ranks, I guess. Keepsay second, RCX third. I